Now, the US State Department has instructed its non-emergency consular staff based in the Chinese city of Shanghai to leave as a stringent COVID lockdown affecting 26 million people causes increasing hardship. The instructions were issued despite the authorities announcing a plan to ease some restrictions. Video posted in recent days on social media shows angry residents saying that after 3 weeks of lockdown, they are running out of food. Our correspondent Stephen McDonald joins me now from Beijing. Stephen, we've seen some rather desperate scenes being posted. Is there any sign of easing up?
Well, the problem in terms of the food and other provisions reaching people is not so much that there's not enough food in the city, it's not having enough delivery drivers to get it to people. So the food might be in warehouses, but it's not getting perhaps 1 or 2 kilometres down the road to people's doorsteps. That's because all the normal delivery drivers are, by and large, locked down at home. Now, you would think if you're going to shut down a city with tens of millions of people in it, that you would organise for those drivers to be treated in the same way as police or other emergency workers and not be forced to stay at home. But that hasn't been the case, and so there are not enough people to get provisions to all those residents stuck there. But there's a bit of a, I suppose, light today in terms of good news that the official numbers, at least today for the first time since April, have come down. Now, I'll give you those numbers. So the symptomatic infections, they're the people who must go to hospital. Yesterday, 1,318 people. Today, 994 people. Asymptomatic cases, if you're officially asymptomatic, it doesn't mean you have no symptoms, just not serious symptoms. You still have to go to centralised isolation, but not a hospital. Those infections, new infections today, 22,384. But that's down from yesterday's more than 25,000. So a little bit of a sign that things might be improving. One official in Shanghai has said that within 10 days, there'll be no new infections outside of those in centralised isolation centres. But with tens of thousands of new cases, it's hard to see how so quickly they'll be eliminated. We'll just have to wait and see, though, if this trajectory does go down. I mean, the cases might just bump up again tomorrow.
And this huge lockdown, the huge problems that Shanghai faces, of course, has a wider impact, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, Premier Li Keqiang, the number 2 leader in the government, has talked about the massive downward pressure on the economy because of this. I'm sure that comes as no surprise to anybody. You imagine you're locking down entire cities. He's also had to tell local governments to stop blockading highways because they're attempting to sort of insulate their communities and preventing trucks from going through. Now, that, of course, has supply chain implications for the whole country. Big pressure then on the Chinese government, but despite this, no sign from the authorities here, from the central government, that there is going to be an alteration to its zero COVID, complete elimination strategy. In fact, quite the opposite. They're building massive isolation centres right across the country as we speak.
All right, interesting to hear all that. Stephen McDonald, as always, thank you very much indeed for your time. Thanks.